Hello and welcome to part 3. In this part of this week's lecture series, we'll be dealing with queue management. So queue management involves extensive data collecting at what rate customers or things require service. And this includes arriving per unit of time, how long does it take to service each one. A typical operation strategy is to optimize the use of labour and equipment by planning for average throughput. So if you know the average amount of customers that are coming through at a particular time, that helps us to manage that, of course. So managing waiting time. So rethinking the design of the queuing system. And we're going to look at different queuing options in the next slide. Installing a reservation system, which is usually a really good idea, because instead of having to wait, then you can go, well, why don't you come in? We've got an appointment at that particular time. You usually want to get there, but if you are a service that provides a service for a lot of customers, just say like buying a coffee or something like that, a reservation system wouldn't really work. You can't really go, oh, come in at that particular time to get your coffee. Whereas if you're an accountant and want to do tax, rather than everyone just rolling up to the accountants when they want their tax done, it obviously makes sense to do a reservation system. So the businesses that are in between those two extremes, you might want to think about that as an option. Reservation system might lose demand then, whereas queuing systems, people wait longer than what they have to. So tailoring the queuing system to different market segments. So you should know who your different market segments are for your marketing, and then go, well, for you guys, you can do a reservation system. You guys come up whenever you want, like queue. Because some valuable customers might actually not want to queue, and they might be prepared to make reservations, right? Now, managing customers' behaviour and their perceptions of the wait. We're going to look at psychology of waiting coming up. Redesigning the process to shorten the time of each transaction. Now, of course, this makes sense. Well, we want to process customers faster. To reduce wait time, just process them faster. But this is going to come back down to training your staff and also the quality of service you do. So the faster you process each transaction, it might deteriorate the quality of the service. So here are our queuing options. So here's a single line. You'd be surprised how common this is. And usually it's because people just haven't really thought about it. It's not a very good one. It's pretty much, I can't serve you right now because I'm serving someone else, so just stand in line over there, right? We'll have cafes and stuff, we've got that. It's very, very basic. A better one is sequential stages, and this might be like at like when you go to a cafe where you go, all right, so order your coffee here, you pay for it there, and then you pick it up at the last one. So each square is a server, and each one does a different part in the sequence. Or think of Subway, the first customer at that point there, you order what bread you've got, and then you order what your meats are or whatever, and then you order you pay for it at the end. Right, now the next one here is parallel lines to multiple servers. So this is better than the single line, but it's still not very good, because the problem with this is when you join, you go, well, which line do I join? And you think, oh, I'll join that one because there's only 2 there. But then the 3 lines moving faster, then you're thinking, oh no, hang on, I want to be in that one. So it can be a little bit frustrating, and especially if there's an old, lady in front of you that's fumbling through a purse and bags and having a good old chat and taking her time. It's like, oh, do I change lines or what? The next one is designated lines to designated service. And this used to be in the banks where you'd have like the business customers would line up for this business teller, and then you'd have these ones for home loan people that got home loan things, whatever that is, and this one would be like, these two would be general day-to-day banking for consumers or whatnot. So each different server has a designated or specialised service that they provide. Now this one, Snake one's a better one. This is where it's sort of mostly used in airports and stuff now. The benefit of this is everyone's in the same queue, so you don't feel like, it feels more fair. And then when you get to the end of the queue or the beginning of the queue, whichever, when you get ready to serve, then they'll just call you from there. The problem with this is sometimes the service gate's not designed very well for that, and then the servers are trying to call the next person in line and they don't realise. So you got to think about that and design it properly, because that's a failure point in that design. So it's better than the other ones, in my opinion. Really got to tailor it to what particular service you're doing, but in this one you need to think about the service scape. Now the last one is take a number. This is a really good one for things like banks, and most banks do this now. So 21, 20, 24 and 23 are getting serviced. So then once 21's done, they go next. Number is 25, and then 25 can go up. And this service scape here, so this waiting area will be like comfortable chairs with TVs there, or magazines and stuff like that. So makes the waiting as pleasant as possible. It's not shown on here, but normally you'd have a concierge or someone here that hands out the tickets. And we'll talk about the emotional contagion coming up in future lectures. But basically what that means, that person greets the people coming in, and their positive attitude lifts up the emotions of the customers as well, which enhances the service experience as well. Right, so and then they get given a ticket, a number, then they wait comfortably and they get called up. All right, now psychology of waiting. So waiting is a universal phenomenon. It happens in all cultures, and people don't usually like it, right? So waiting lines or queues occur whenever there is a number of arrivals at a facility exceeds the capacity of the system to process it. So it's pretty simple, right? You've got more people coming in than you can process and pump out. Now, queues are a basic symptom of unresolved capacity management problems. So if your customers are queuing, you've got some capacity management to do, right? You've got to think about it. Now, some waiting might be okay and within acceptable areas or parameters, but customers don't like waiting, and if you haven't got it under control, you're going to be losing market share. Right. So the average waiting time is a function of the total number of arrivals, the average duration of the service transaction, so it takes to process them, and the total capacity of the service gate, so the facilities or to be able to push them through. So this is quite simple. The average waiting time is just 3 different variables: number of people coming in, the average duration to process them, and the limitations of the service gate. And you can easily work that out through collecting data and analysing that. So when we talk about psychology of waiting, there's a few things to think about. So unoccupied time feels much longer than occupied time. So if you're standing around doing nothing, you're not occupied with your time, you're not doing something, it feels so much longer, it's painful. Solo waits feel longer than waits in groups, because if you're waiting on your own, you've got no one to talk to, like what do you do? Whereas if you're in a group, at least it's not wasted time, because you can interact and socialise and have fun. Physically uncomfortable feels are much longer than comfortable. So that's where we went back to the the take a number, sit down in nice comfy chairs with TVs and stuff like that. Also, when you have a retail outlet in, just say, a supermarket or like a shopping centre, something like that, it blows my mind how a lot of these retail stores, they should know who their target market is, and that's people shopping at the grocery stores or other stores. Sort of got that collective benefit there. But they don't have any process. So you come in, like mum either comes in with their kids or their husbands and stuff like that, and like what do they do? So just think, if I go to a shop with my wife, while she's shopping, I'm standing there holding the bags going, are you done yet? Are you hurrying up? Whereas if they put a chairs there or a nice couch or something like that, I'll sit down, I'm comfortable, and my wife will go, well, my husband's comfortable. She doesn't feel the pressure to rush out to shop, so she's going to spend more time there. More time in that shop's going to be undoubtedly more purchases as well. So just simple things like that. Thinking about the psychology of waiting, you can actually have a big impact on the amount of customers you have in your store and the products that they buy as well. So the pre-process and post-process feels longer than the in-process. That's because the in-process is when you're actually in the, throughout the service provision. There's stuff happening, so it's more exciting, right? So it doesn't feel longer. Unfair waits are much longer than equitable waits. And this goes back to remember we had the lines and one line's moving faster. It doesn't feel fair when you've rolled up for a service and someone else comes after you, joins the line, and they get served before you, right? So then you start to get frustrated. It's going to impact on your perception of the service quality. Unfamiliar waits are longer than familiar. If you've done that wait before, you kind of know what to expect, which leads into the next one. Uncertain waits are longer than known waits, finite waits. A good example of this. So if someone comes in, you could just go to the customer. oh, we've got an average wait time of 5 minutes, is that okay? They go, yep, no, I'm happy to wait 5 minutes. Or they go, oh, look, I can't really wait right now, I'll come back later. So, but they know it's going to be 5 minutes, so it reduces the uncertainty. The other one, which I lost what I was going to say now, is so if you know from previous experience roughly how long the wait is, there's that form of customer learning as well there. So that kind of links into there. Unexplained waits are much longer than explained waits. So think if you in an airplane waiting to take off, and they go, oh, we've just had we've just had someone had a heart attack or a health issue. We've had to take them off the aeroplane. We're just making sure that they are stabilised and safely get them off the aeroplane before we can. Everyone in the aeroplane is going to be like, yep, fine, no worries. Like that's a important thing. They know what's going on, and it's outside the control of the service provider, like the airline. So people won't mind waiting for that. Well, most people won't. Reasonable people won't anyway. Anxiety makes waiting seem longer. If you're not sure what's going on, if you're anxious about, like if you're at the dentist, they're going to pull your teeth and you hate dentists. Or don't really hate the dentist, but you hate the service that the dentist provides. That's going to feel longer because you're anxious. And the more vulnerable, the more valuable the service, the longer people will wait. So if you're spending a lot of money, it's a big thing. It doesn't really matter so much. All right, alternative demand for otherwise wasted capacity. So use capacity for service differentiation. So if you have like different levels of capacity, you go, this is our premium service, and that's how you differentiate your service. So you go, well, if you want to get service within a certain time period, that might be one service product different to a general service product where you have to wait longer. There's plenty of different ways of doing that. Reward your best customers and build loyalty. Do not you should know who your best customers are, your most valuable customers are, and one way to reward them is to ensure that they're not waiting longer than your regular customers. And think about, I'm going to use airlines again, first class passengers you can board now, right? So they jump ahead. And usually economy class customers don't actually care that much about it because you go, well, you've paid more for a ticket, fine, I don't care if you jump on the airplane before me because it seems fair, right? And we've learned that that's normal. Other ways at the cafe, you could have your regular customer comes in, so you just know what they order, so you start making their coffee. That happens a fair bit as well. Because you're there, your loyal customer, that they know your order, and that's just one benefit you get. So you end up waiting less time for it. Customer and channel development. There's another way to do it. Reward their employees for reducing demand. That's really frustrating when employees don't really care about how long customers wait. So if you go, look, if we can keep the average wait time below a certain thing, and this happens a lot in call times, the employees are incentivized to reduce the wait time. So then they go, yep, no worries. You get bonuses or you get rewards for processing customers faster. And then barter free capacity. So you go, oh look, we're really busy Monday morning, so don't come in then. If you come in on Thursday afternoons when we're less busy, we'll have more time to deal with you and we can throw in some extra frills for your service, whatever that might be. All right, demand capacity management requires information. This is extremely important. I go on about this a fair bit in marketing, but to be good marketers, we need to make good decisions, and to make good decisions, we need good information, and good information comes from collecting data and analysing it, right? So we collect that data through historical data, so what's happened in the past. We can use what's happened in the past to predict what's going to happen in the future. And indeed, the best predictor of future behaviour is past behaviour. Forecasts, we can use, once we know what's going to happen, we can kind of use that historical data to forecast into the future, right? So if we know that we're normally busy on Wednesday afternoons, then next week Wednesday we can predict that we're going to be busy Wednesday afternoons, or whether it's by weekly or by monthly or by different segments and stuff like that. So to forecast what's going to happen by different segments, we need to collect segment by segment data, right? Cost data, how much it costs to make things and process our service at different times, service different customer segments at different times and different price points. Variations in demand across multiple sites. I'm thinking of McDonald's and Hungry Jack's and stuff like that. Like some stores process their customers faster than others, so they can use that and go, well, why is this location or site processing things faster? And if you have the app and you go, well, there's a 15-minute wait at the Inveresk McDonald's, but there's only a 2-minute wait at South Launceston. It's probably the other way around, but then you'd go, well, rather than going to one Macca's, I'll go to the other one. Customer attitudes, easy way of measuring that is the 5-point Likert star, and that's just making a statement and asking customers to what they agree with it, right? So you go on a scale of 1 to 5, do you agree? To what extent do you agree that this service provides, or this organisation provides good quality service? And they'll go strongly disagree, neutral, agree, or strongly agree, right? So that's an excellent way, and that's the 5-point Likert scale measuring attitudes. And then customer options. Sometimes it just comes down to asking customers. Like we often think we know what our customers want because that's what we would want, but talk to them and go, well, you know, what other options are there? Like, this is an issue, we think it's an issue, do you mind waiting, blah, 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 and through that discussion. And usually that's best done with your most valuable customers, but by talking to your customers, you get closer to them and you can see what their options are. All right, that's the end of this one. I look forward to seeing you in the workshops.